Hey guys, it is IPL Fight Club here on IPL. What do you know? I'm Doe. With me is Kevin Naki, and we're about to go into Game 2 between Alternate Attack.Socke and Dignitas.SjoW. SjoW is down 0-3 right now. He's picked Entombed Valley. He's going to need to, I said it last game, but now it's essential that he wins the game. He really needs to kind of get some traction going in this best of 9. If Socke goes up 4-0, I think it's going to be pretty tough for SjoW to come back.
All right, guys. Well, we'll see if he can do just that. Time now for game number 4. See if SjoW can start to salvage a game here in this best of 9. All right, here we are, guys, on Entombed Valley, and down in the bottom left-hand corner of the map, we have our Red Terran player from Dignitas, a team that is going to be competing in Team Arena Challenge 3 starting next week. It is SjoW.
They just made it in, too.
Yeah, just in the last qualifier. And here, in the top right-hand corner of the map, is his opponent from Alternate Attacks. It is Socke.
So, let me tell you what SjoW is thinking right now.
Okay.
Basically, he's looking at the match, and he's like, all right, I lost 3 games in a row now. The reason that I've lost, well, a big contributing factor to why I have lost is that I've taken some pretty big damage early on in the game, either by an all-in like we saw in Game 3, or just from attacks that did pretty well in Game 1 and 2. Therefore, I'm going to pick a map like Entombed Valley where I have a ramp going into my natural, where I can play just kind of a little bit more defensive, not take damage early on, and just try to play for a stronger late game. So unless SjoW is planning on doing some sort of like crazy one-base all-in, I've got a feeling that's probably what his mindset is going into this game on Entombed Valley.
Well, we'll find out how Socke is going to react as well. 13 gate, nothing abnormal from him. His opponent's barracks built pretty defensively inside, right next to the command center as well. The most macro-oriented, it wastes the least amount of time getting that SCV to start constructing it. So nothing too out of the ordinary for those guys, though, to note as of yet.
Well, Socke doesn't really need to change what he's doing at all, does he? I mean, he kind of, the first 3 games, he just kind of made some very basic timings and ended up doing a lot of damage with it. Game 3, he just defended and got a lead that way as well. So I think we're probably going to see Socke play pretty much the same that he has been playing all game, which is to say, very safe, stable 2-base, maybe do a push early on to see what he can kind of accomplish with that, but overall just kind of play for that late game where you have that really strong late game PvT composition. Well,
Socke just trying to get in there and force a little bit of lost mining time, but SjoW reacts very quickly. He, of course, is going for a 1-Rax gasless fast expand. Socke, on the other hand, if you notice, went for very late gas, and that was a just-in-case kind of gas, and in case he saw anything really weird at his opponent's base, he could really quickly go back to mining that.
Right,
but the intention all along was to put that Nexus out as quick as possible.
Yep, pretty common way to expand these days in PvT. And, that reminds me kind of how MVP was playing against Parting the other day, where he played in a way that kind of took advantage of the greediness that his opponent was doing. He's like, all right, if you decide to play greedy and play for that really, really strong macro opening, I can do things to kind of make you build what I want you to build, right? It's like if you play greedy like that and I wall off early on, I'm forcing you to make a robo-bay, right? Because you need to get in there and see what's going on. If I know you're making a robo-bay, I can tailor my build to kind of take advantage of that, because that's going to push back, your Templar tech a little bit if you didn't want to get that robo early on. So, that's what a lot of Terrans, I think, are going to start to sort of think about when they go into the Terran versus Protoss matchup, is that either they're going to, kind of do the Pult style where you just get really aggressive early on and try to punish that early expand, or they're going to take advantage of the fact that when your opponent plays so greedy in the economy department, you can do things to kind of force them along certain tech paths that you want them to be doing. So, yeah.
Well, there you go. That's that was actually very educational. I learned quite a bit there. So
good.
Thank you. Yes.
Hooray.
Well, there you go. That's all I want in life was the hooray. SjoW, though, on the other hand, is going for a very E.G. Thorzane.
E.G. Thorzane, yeah, man.
That's gonna take a while to get out there.
We just got over the Vile to Quantic thing, and then Thorzane changes teams. Jeez,
I know,
these players,
come on, man.
I tell you.
Well, the E.G. Thorzane style, where he goes into 1 Rex gasless FE, and then goes up to a second Rex, and then double gasses right afterwards before that third Rex, so that he has a little bit more flexibility in choosing his tech options. SjoW going down a quick medevac route is what it looks like, as he has a factory on the way now.
And, you know, I feel like this is going to be a game that SjoW's going to be probably the most competitive in. Oh, that's cool. I like that. Socke is like, all right, I'm going to call your bluff, and I'm going to just go ahead and expand.
Hits later than that parting style, you know, Gateway Nexus into 8 gate, but still is going to offer a very, very strong economy here. He could decide, because he's been mining off of double gas basically this entire time, to do what he's doing now and go sentries, or he could tech up very quickly.
I almost feel like this Nexus from Socke is actually a response, because I think he's figured out what SjoW is doing here. SjoW is like, I just don't want to take damage in the early game. I've lost 3 games in a row because of that. I want to just go into a strong mid game and late game. And so Socke is like, oh, cool. My opponent's not going to be aggressive at all. I can just take a third base. And you know, we'll have to see if how he decides to take advantage of that, because it doesn't look like he's going to do any sort of like really intense gateway attack. It looks like more that he's going to use that to sort of tech up and just kind of play safe behind that, because right now in the late game, Protoss is a bit stronger than Terran. You know, I feel, with Terran, if you don't get your EMPs in the right place, you generally just kind of lose.
Now, Thorzane, we were talking about Thorzane before.
That's right.
SjoW is completely thrown me for a loop. It looks like he is going to go almost for that Nada style, adding in tanks, strong marine production, and hit a very, very strong attack a little bit later on. He himself is going for a third base as well, coming up a bit later than his opponent Socke's, though.
Yep, I really, really like the Nada style, and I'm going to call it the Nada style because he's the one who's been doing it kind of the most lately in high-level TVP. That's a lot of gateways, yeah. But I do like it in that it gives you just a kind of a strong, unique, quote-unquote, composition that maybe forces your opponent a little bit outside of their comfort zone.
That is cool. That's very true, especially powerful against what's going to be basically all gateway units now. As we can see, there is an observer, a Twilight Council coming up now in addition to the 8 gates. No Forge as of yet, though, so it's not like this is for +2 or anything along those lines. It is going to be for Blink or Charge.
Yeah, well, Charge generally works pretty well against siege tank compositions. That wouldn't be too surprising if that's what he was going for. And a lot of players do go for that like Zealot Charge, Colossus type thing too, because even though Colossi don't outrange tanks or anything like that, they still tend to perform quite well against them.
So I would expect Charge. Well, there's Charge, and then a Templar Archives probably pretty soon here as well. So he's going up to 6 gas. So
yeah, that is true.
All right.
Aha, a third base.
That's true. Aha, aha, aha,
aha. You've taken a third base. Aha,
aha, aha.
Speed Racer. Oh, he does get the observer.
Okay, well,
what did you think of the live-action Speed Racer movie?
Okay,
yeah, you didn't see a third base. What do you think about the Speed Racer movie?
Thanks.
Priorities, man.
I did not. While it wasn't my world's favorite movie, I did not dislike it as much as some people did. I obviously haven't gone back and seen it a second time, but I thought stylishly it was pretty cool.
It was.
It didn't have a lot of substance to it, though, and that's what let me down.
Yeah, it was a Speed Racer live-action film, but
basically,
I thought it was entertaining. It was cool. You know who actually loves that movie?
Who?
Wolf.
What?
Wolf loves Speed Racer.
Really?
It's true. If he watches it broadcast, I will guarantee you he will tweet at me at GoSudoa and say, I love Speed Racer.
Well, I do like the Wachowskis and John Goodman as well. I thought did a pretty good job, but besides that, no.
The car driving stuff was pretty cool. I liked it when the guy from Lost vaulted up in his car and punched that dude that was flipping over him in his car. That was fun.
That was pretty awesome.
I could have said Racer X, but he was also the guy from Lost. So
that's true, but mostly Racer X. Well, looks like Socke is actually going up to 12 gate now, starting to add in those Templar and just playing a very slow brand of Charge-Led Archon. So 12 gates, a ton of upgrades. He's already got Charge finished up. And we'll see what SjoW is going to do in response. Looks like he wants to take bases all over the place. He's got a 4th coming up now. He's got a pretty solid unit composition. He's starting to reinvest back into his infrastructure and adding on that Ghost Academy.
Well, this game is kind of like a gentleman's agreement, no rush 20 minutes. It looks like Socke basically being like, all right, you want to play the late game? Come at me, bro. I will be ready. But you're right, SjoW will be taking his 4th a little bit earlier too, so that may be something that comes back to haunt Socke. You can't, no matter what the matchup is, you can't play that passive. You have to do something,
Socke saw this factory before with his observers, so he moved up those stalkers ahead of time so that he could intercept that in any sort of drop play. Oh, he's going to have to watch out, though, because SjoW's making his way over to his 4th. He's got to rally everything back, and indeed does. Looks like he will be able to hang on to this Nexus, but unfortunately is going to lose quite a few stalkers in the process.
It's actually too bad for SjoW here. He thought he would get an easy cancel on the 4th. He had no idea that those stalkers would be there, and I mean, let's be honest, he had no reasonable reason to expect stalkers to be there. So that just kind of ended up being a little bit of bad luck for him. He doesn't get the deny on the 4th, so Socke will be able to get that up and running, it looks like. But all in all, SjoW's still very much in the game. He's getting his ghost upgrades already, just teching very, very, very quickly. Both of these guys working on +2 for some of their stuff, +2 for the armor of Socke, it looks like, and +2 for the weapons of SjoW.
Yeah, as we can see here now, so 2-2 coming up for both these. Well, no, I'm sorry, no +2 armor yet for SjoW. Is he working off of a single engineering bay?
I think he is.
There is 2. He's just not
there
utilizing
are 2.
them. Yeah.
All right.
Weird.
He forgot.
Yep.
Sometimes it happens.
Yep.
Kind of make you make the second one, you forget about it.
All right. Well, taking a look at things, looks like Socke may be thinking about taking his 5th here at this high position, sitting over. I don't even know what you want to call that. I guess the bluffs of Entombed Valley. What's the geographical term? It's not cliff line. It's not
plateaus.
Plateau. That'd be a good one. I like it.
Not Shakuras plateaus, but different plateaus.
No. Much
Maybe
different ones.
A butte, you could call it?
Yes.
I think a butte is where it's like flat on top, but kind of comes up out of the ground. And the Zealots leading the charge for Socke.
Yeah.
Well,
Storm gets a lot of units, though. That first one was actually pretty effective. Second one, not as much, but still does the job in warding away those units for a little while. And it looks like Socke going to lead the charge with his charge lots now, appropriately enough. And he has a pretty good line of engagement. SjoW does have quite a few forces out here as well. A couple of the tanks have already fallen. There's only one more remaining now. The Archon actually concentrating on mules could be used up at the front here in just a second. And SjoW actually doing a pretty decent job of starting to nullify some of these units. He's hit some pretty good EMPs as well, but more charge lots are starting to make their way in now.
Yeah, Socke kind of ran into those Templar and lost them too to the bio, so not really the best engagement for Socke. Kind of just tried to bull rush his way in there, and he did some damage, but in the end, look at the supply count. That went much better for SjoW than it did for his Protoss opponent there.
Yes, it did, and he did lose a few workers in the process, but honestly, at this stage of the game, that's not going to be the worst thing in the world. In fact, just reproducing with additional orbital commands and mules. In fact, he's going to be on 5 orbital commands here very, very soon. His mule income is going to be staggering.
Yeah, so that means that he can actually be on a lot less SCVs than he would normally be and still be fine for his mineral income. And Socke looks like he's going to have to play on the defensive for a little bit now in this game. If we look at the upgrades, it is 3-3 going up for Protoss, whereas we have just +1 weapons going up for SjoW. Still just 1 armor for him. He's been kind of skimping on the upgrades. If you look at his money right now, he certainly has enough to get that upgrade. Yeah. So I think he just must have kind of forgot a little bit at this point.
Look at this Zealot. It's killed all 2,000 hit points of those destructible rocks. He feels very accomplished.
Zealot's a champ, man.
Yeah, no kidding. I should get an upgrade for that Zealot.
Impressive. Oh, there's +2 armor for SjoW. Wow.
Breaking down all the rocks. Super Zealots.
Nice. All right. Well, as the games kind of progress, Terrans do kind of tend to take those bases on this map, so it's good for Socke to just kind of dedicate 1 Zealot to each one and just get that out of the way early on.
Yeah, not a bad idea at all.
Yep, good forward thinking.
As we can see around, Zealots just charging around the map, trying to clear things up. SjoW has to stem out of there, though. Unfortunately, he's going to go right into the bunker, and that is going to force the Zealot away. Yep. But SjoW making a big push through the middle. Now he's got a fair number of ghosts behind this as well. Looks like a flank coming from Socke. Is he just going to go around or what? Storm's hitting a couple of those units, and feedbacks versus Snipes. Snipes came out a little bit in the advantage there.
Yeah, no kidding. And, nice Storm, though. Yeah, taking a lot of the units down to low health, and here comes the flank from Socke.
Yeah, they'll see if this works out pretty well as Templar lagging a little bit behind.
Oh, great EMPs.
Yes,
oh, wow.
That may have made the difference there for SjoW. He will lose this force up at the front, unfortunately, but everything would have been devastated. He would have not killed nearly as many units. Oh, but that, unfortunately, is really bad, losing those medevacs on the way out. And now, all of a sudden, Socke with that great flank, up by 40 supply.
Yeah, even with the EMPs there were just too many charge zealots for SjoW to really handle. I mean, he had everything kind of clumped up. It seems like each engagement that SjoW has tried to be aggressive in on this map, Socke has just done a really good job of getting a flank with it. And if you look around the map, he's got a ton of vision here. I mean, he can really see quite a bit. So I wouldn't be surprised at all. Yeah, look, he's got observers pretty much everywhere. Wouldn't be surprised at all if this kind of continues to happen. SjoW's going to need to be very, very careful about where he decides to pick his engagements, or maybe just kind of max out and just go for kind of one big push.
Well, he does clearly see the force through the middle of the map right now, so that's not going to catch him off guard. He's starting to rally some units in position for this, and producing a nuke as well, which would actually be pretty good. He'll certainly need to be able to pull off a decent nuke here, though, or at least a positional one to give him the kind of engagement he wants. Socke, though, is maxed. He's adding on Colossi now. In fact, his first Colossus just coming up.
Cool stuff. Vikings being made by SjoW, so at least he will have a little bit of anti-air with that. And I do love the use of sensor towers. I think they're the most underused building in StarCraft 2, so it's cool to see SjoW doing that. Looks like he's just giving up this fourth base here. He's going to lose the command center, though. Yeah,
it was already low from the earlier engagement way back when.
Okay,
so
there we go.
There it goes, and looks like this Ghost actually picking off High Templar. No, but it is going to have a nuke ready. We'll see if he's able to get that off here in a second.
Well,
maybe, possibly, could be. No, I guess not. Another one just got cleaned up inside of the main, so. Well, okay. Oh, unfortunately, these photon cannons are going to be up pretty quickly. Is this going to be in time, though?
Where's the observer? Where's
Army
the observer?
Back. Sokke's got to get his forces away.
Yeah, he does.
Probes!
Okay, the cannons will actually finish.
Probes!
Oh,
Boom!
man. Oh! What? Oh, man, I think he thought those cannons were going to finish a little bit quicker than they actually did. He just lost a lot of probes at that base.
He did.
Ouch.
19 workers killed in total. Worker count is even, which does give SjoW the economic advantage, though, because of mules.
Yep, that's right. That's right. And Socke, though he does have a fifth base up and running, but he's going to need to make probes to really make it worthwhile. And, you know, SjoW is going to be able to put on a lot of pressure with these nukes. He's going to be able to kind of dodge cannons here and there. And if Sokke's not very careful, he could do a lot of damage.
You know, Socke was actually at a 40 supply advantage, and now it is tied up. Now, granted, a lot of those were workers, and now he can replace those with attack units, so it made his army stronger as well. But the point remains that SjoW was able to delay and play catch-up and kind of close that gap for a while.
Well, that is a pretty scary army right there for Socke, and that Templar looks like he wants to try to maybe do some storms on the mineral line of SjoW's fourth base here. Oh, the scan, though, does see it. Might want to move those SCVs. Can he actually reach that with Storm? I don't believe he can.
I don't think so.
Maybe the right side of it. Yeah, he probably can.
I guess he's going to try.
Nope, maybe not. Oh, that was just sad. That's how would you feel being that Templar? Being like, hey, I want you to go up on this cliff and see if you can like cast a spell on those units a while ago. And like, all right, I'll try. It's like, I can't do it, and then you die.
And you just get immediately destroyed.
Sad. He'll come back. Actually, he won't come back.
Nope.
That's
High
it for him.
Don't come back.
That's right.
Well, it's going to be Vikings positioning over this little gap here in the middle against these Colossi off to the right-hand side, and we'll see if he can pull off that. Does get the Observer, which is very nice. That allows the Ghost to start moving up. Oh, nice sniping out one of the Templar. Another one could go down pretty quickly.
Yeah, Socke needs to make a run for it, losing both of his Templar. There is +2 attacks on those Vikings as well, so the Colossi won't really last all that long. Looks like he might decide to go for it anyway.
Nice shot picking off those Ghosts, though. He did lose 2 Templar, actually 3 if you count the one here on the cliff, but he did get 3 Ghosts in return. All right, so let's see now. Is a fifth base, I'm sorry, is that a fifth? A sixth base coming up now for Socke in the top left-hand corner. He will be able to reproduce his army quickly. SjoW really needs to start reinvesting in his infrastructure. He has a lot of resources banked up, but doesn't have really the production to be able to take advantage of this if a big engagement comes.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, he just ditched a lot of his SCVs, so he wants to make his army bigger. It will be quite strong. He has successfully forced this very late-game scenario in TVP. I mean, this is what SjoW wanted from the start, so now we'll see if he can kind of take what he got and make it work.
All right, well, a lot of EMPs hitting the front line of units, but it was actually a huge number of EMPs, and they hit kind of the same units over and over again. So wasn't bad, but could have been a little bit better. Those EMPs that followed up were very, very good, though. And SjoW has been able to get in here and dispatch the Colossi very quickly without losing too many of those Vikings. Now, finally, the Vikings are falling. One Colossus still sitting at the back, but admittedly, SjoW just did a lot of damage, albeit eating a big storm there.
Yeah, no kidding. The supplies in the end pretty even, so now it does kind of come down to whose production is a little bit better. All the Vikings went down, though, in that fight, pretty much all of them, and there are 3 Colossi being made at once by Socke, so that is going to be very strong. Yeah, and just look at that. Socke just has pretty much the entire map right now.
Unbelievable.
So, you know, he doesn't even really need to attack right now. All he needs to do is just win fights. If he can win fights in the middle of the map, he can just kind of starve his opponent out. There's not a whole lot that SjoW can really do. He's going to try to take this 4th base, but I've got a feeling Socke is going to be in position to be ready for that.
And Socke is going to be on pure Archon Templar Colossus with +3 shields.
Pretty much.
Those Archons are going to be able to tank an immense amount of damage. Looks like Socke is able to pick up on the space over on the right-hand side. Even snags himself a couple of kills before those Zealots do get cleaned up.
Whoops,
so,
not bad.
Poor Templar.
There he goes, turning into a ghost at the end.
Yep.
Guess that's what happens. DT is on the way for Socke, and he is still able to put a little bit of pressure on this command center. SjoW's obviously going to come and defend this soon, I would hope. Oh, never mind. There's a big attack coming. SjoW's got other things to worry about. That's a lot of Colossi with not a lot of Vikings to do anything about it.
Yeah, but, you know, Socke moving out pretty quickly here. We'll see if this timing was good for him, as it looks like the Colossi number starting to thin out. They already have done an immense amount of damage, but SjoW is able to clean this up. However, I think Socke ended up doing a little bit more damage than he took, despite the fact that his whole army went away.
Yeah, he actually killed that command center even with those Zealots. So now SjoW just has nothing he can do. In fact, that was the command center. Oh, no, it wasn't the one from his main. I was looking at a gap in the minimap.
Man,
that was
no
not
mining,
there.
though.
But here's the thing is that SjoW, I mean, yeah, he kind of quote-unquote won that fight, but like you mentioned, his production just isn't there, and Socke at this point can trade army for army just because he's got such a better economy at this point. So this is still a good situation for our Protoss player.
And Socke just has so many probes distributed across the map. He's mining off of so many bases right now. It's going to be very difficult for SjoW to try and stop that. We haven't seen a drop this entire game. He sent in some units to try and deny the 4th way back when, but it's been a while since we've seen any other aggression out of him.
Now, I feel like a big part of why SjoW came out on top in that last fight was because there was not a lot of gateway units for Socke. And he's going to put some pressure on here. He needs to be so careful of those Vikings. They have +3 attack. They will do a lot of damage to those Colossi very quickly.
Yes, they will. The Archons need to get in there and start engaging. It looks like they are. The Vikings getting pushed back once again. Are they going to be able to take out the Colossi? They're getting very, very low, but no! The Colossi stand, and a storm just annihilates the bio units off to the left. Finally, those Colossi do go down, but if this orbital command were to fall, SjoW would just be down to 3 command centers.
Well, you can see from the supply count that even though Socke is losing a lot of units in these attacks, overall, he's still continuing to gain ground. He's making 5 more Archons at once. And, yeah, things just not looking very good for SjoW unless he can kind of get some sort of decisive miracle win. I think we're going to see Socke go up 3-0 in this game.
Look how many Archons there are on completely full upgrades as well. 3, 3, 3. SCVs were transferring over to the right-hand side. SjoW's got to make a desperation move to try and get any sort of units out there. Those banked resources are all gone. He was at 4K at one point when maxed.
Yep, now just a little bit of minerals and a lot of gas that he can't really use. 69 to 27 is our harvester count right now.
Yep.
You can go lower on SCVs if you have mules, remember, like what we said, but this is a little bit too extreme. This doesn't work quite as well, and yeah, I think Socke is just going to go ahead and roll over his opponent right now if he wants to.
Yeah, well, backing up for now, just making sure that I guess he just wants to be a little bit more patient, but still going to be quite the uphill task for SjoW to try and get anything done. His opponent's now max. He's down by 110 supply.
Well, it is kind of intimidating having to attack into a planetary. You know, I mean, it's still not something you want to do, even if you are very far ahead. But Socke doesn't really realize that he's as far ahead as he is. He's 110 supply ahead. He can attack into that planetary all he wants.
Yes.
Looks like he's going to go try to deny that 5th base instead, which is a perfectly fine plan as well.
He could actually throw this army away twice over, and he'll still be fine. So
yeah, pretty much.
All right. Well, sensor tower goes down. Looks like he's going to start putting on some pressure here onto this. I don't even know what numbered base this would be at that point, but the bottom right-hand corner of the map. And SjoW, unfortunately, losing these Vikings very quickly. Only 2 remaining now, and he hasn't done any damage yet to those. He's
sad.
denied.
That one will not be landing. And I think we're just going to see the end of the game here for SjoW.
Yeah, probably.
Socke just too strong.
There it is. GG. And Socke is just 1 game away from going ahead and